more in the world. And with that go certain responsibilities, and some of that responsibility is, of course, the helping the Moore reunion. Now, I would like to take this. Can you folks hear me? Yeah. I would like to take this time first to thank Paula and her team for all the work that she did. I would like also, as my second point, to thank the Morrison girls again for putting on this show for 10 years. And old age problems, medical problems, caught up with it, and now they had to pass it on to somebody else. Paula has agreed to do this, and she and I had a talk last night, and she's agreed to do it again for next year. Yeah, so as you all know, Billy is in the hospital, and she's had some very serious problems, but that little woman has a lot of courage, and she's tough, and I think she is probably going to pull out of it. So I was pleased with what I saw. When I get to talk, I've done this in several years, I always get a sense of humility when I think about all the pioneer people that made all of this possible. Amongst these, of course, were the Moores, but there are other pioneer people represented here who go all the way back to the Plymouth and beyond. So all of these people sort of made an amalgam, and this represents the Moore clan. I'm talking about the Moores, but there are many other parts to this other than just the Moore name. I want to say that I think, and this is my own opinion, that I think the Moore clan now is probably stronger than it has been at any time since before the Civil War. And, you know, following the Civil War, when the Moores fought on the side of the Confederacy, and they went broke, and it's been hard to fight our way back. But now they're back, and there are many of the young people here now that are taking over responsible jobs and are doing great work for the community. The Moore family and the work that they have done has been of the big shoulders type. They built the schools, the churches, and the roads. They were county judges, sheriffs, and things like that. They didn't hold high office like governors and senators and so on, although that is one area that I think that you younger people might want to look at, because I think with a strong background of the family and the good values that the family has, that you could, if you wanted it, run for office and get elected to some of these things, because right over the hill here is the state capitol, and you're certainly better than most of the people that serve there in the branches of government. As an old professor, I know a little about this aspect of the thing. So, give it some thought. One of the things I would like to mention to all of you, parents particularly, and grandparents, encourage the young people, the young guys, to try to go ahead. We've got lots of smart youngsters, and if they don't have a little bit of encouragement, they may not do anything with it. And it's all right for a grandfather to go over and pat a granddaughter or grandson on the arm and say, "Look, you're doing great, kid." And that goes a long way. And the parents too, you know. If somebody brings home a good report card, don't just toss it aside. Give them a big hug or some real indication that you appreciated what the person has done. Those little things like that can mean a very big thing in terms of what this young person will do. And my fifth point I want to take up here is let's talk a little bit about the future and what we're facing. And let me start out with this. On Wednesday, I took my old Crown Vic to the filling station and filled it up in order to come down here. And it cost me $67 and a few cents to do that. And when I looked at that, and that told me two things. First, the price of gasoline is high. And the second thing is that gasoline and the hydrocarbons and coal and everything else is getting in short supply. And right now, if you look at the gasoline situation, we're drilling holes in the ground out in the ocean and going through at least a mile of water before we even hit the ground. And that is very difficult. And with the gasoline and things we're getting, a lot of it is coming from halfway around the world because they have a little there. But this is what we people in the sciences say, these things are finite. That means that they're not going to last forever. We're going to burn up all the gas, coal, and everything in a certain length of time. I expect that about 2 or 3 generations from now, there will be gasoline rationing. Now, the question is, how do we get out of this mess? And also, might want to mention to you before I get into a possible remedy, the population of the world is increasing exponentially. It's going up like this. And we're going to have more mouths to feed, more cars to put gasoline in, and all of this. And that will be down the road a ways. The second or third generation, you'll have to deal with this because you'll have less to work with unless we get smart and try to do something about it. One of the things that I think we could do, and really should do, and are doing it in a limited way, is to look into space. Now, if we look out into space, there are lots of possibilities there, that raw materials that can help us out. Well, at the moment, we don't know how to get them. But in the early days when we were exploring this planet, Magellan and all the other explorers didn't know where they were going even, you know, they just sailed and gradually, when they learned what was there and how to go about it, well then the business people could step in and then a lively commerce took place and everything worked out fine. So we are at that Magellan type stage, I think. Now this is all my opinion now. Some people here may disagree tremendously with me, but there is out a ways beyond the moon, quite far beyond the moon, there's something called the Oort cloud. That's O-O-R-T. You might want to Google that when you go back to your computer, and it'll tell you all about it. But there are all kinds of debris there. Now, those of you that are around Chicago, if you go to the Field Museum, there is something there that from the Oort cloud that I think you would be interested in. There's a big meteorite there. It's shaped a bit like a big watermelon, about 4 or 5, imagine 4 or 5 big watermelons into one. And this is this meteorite. And this meteorite, the principal materials are nickel and iron. So it's out there. Then another thing that I find absolutely tremendously interesting, out at Saturn, one of our other planets that are, it's out a ways, there is a moon, a big moon that Saturn has, and this moon has a very strange atmosphere. It's very much like Earth. It rains, there are lakes, there are streams, they have storms, lightning, and so forth. But one thing it doesn't have any oxygen. And this material on Saturn that forms these lakes and so on is gasoline. It's mostly hexane, and hexane is one of the big components in gasoline. And of course, it's out of our reach now. And I'm just pointing it out because there may be other areas out there that have that, and we have to figure out ways and means of using the raw materials that are out there. Now that's a job for you folks. Unfortunately, I won't be around to see what you do, but I would love to be able to start over right now and see what's going on, but I obviously don't have that option. So those are the things I would like to leave with you. And I'd like to say one other thing for your children and for you too. The Army at one time, not too long ago, ran some TV commercials, and one of the things that rather struck me was it said, "Be all you can be." That's all I have to say. And thank you so much for listening to me. Go back to